Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, students. Sorry for the interruption. So we were talking about Lacan's key concepts, and I will go through these concepts once again quickly. Desire for him is it's not a need, not a demand. Desire is always something missing. The object petite a. For Lacan offers desire is a lack characters, want not just objects, but to be recognized by the other, or love, authority, society. The gaze for him is being looked at by the text or by language itself. And for example, when we watch a horror movie, the monster basically looks back, and that is what he means by the gaze. It's not just looking, but being looked at by the text or by the symbolic order. In horror movies, the monster gazes back. The name of the father for him is symbolic authority. Uh, any authority figure who says no. It could be law, prohibition, social rules, patriarchy, etc. And that basically structures our narratives. And another term he uses is joyance, excess pleasure that hurts, like trauma, horror, you know, the sublime in literature, etc. The strange pleasure in pain. Why we rewatch tragic endings. Why we listen to sad music. Uh, I will. Uh, I suppose you must have watched Harry Potter, and in characters in Harry Potter, the Voldemort is the real. The cannot be named. The name of the father is equal to Dumbledore, that is law and authority, and the gaze is equal to that dark mark in the sky. So that's how we can, try to understand his terminologies. Now, moving forward, we try to apply a Freudian reading on an example on Hamlet by uh, William Shakespeare, written by William Shakespeare in 1600. Non-psychoanalytic reading would say that a revenge tragedy about moral duty, while the psychoanalytic reading, that of particularly Freud's, Hamlet's famous delay is not because he is indecisive, it is because Claudius has done what Hamlet unconsciously wishes to do. The audible conflict Hamlet desires Gertrude, her mother. Claudius is the rival who acted out Hamlet's wish. So basically, the Freudian reading would be that uh, he did not kill Claudius, the Hamlet did not kill him because unconsciously uh, he wishes, it's not because of his indecisiveness, but because Claudius has done what Hamlet unconsciously wishes or wanted to do, and Hamlet desires her mother, Claudius, his mother, sorry, and Claudius is the rival who acted out Hamlet's wish. Hamlet cannot kill Claudius without punishing himself. Ophelia is displaced desire. Her death is equal to Hamlet's repressed guilt. The key quote in Hamlet, applying Freudian reading, would be, "Thus conscience does make cowards of us all." But conscience here means unconscious guilt, not morality. For him, conscience is something different. It's not morality. Uh, by analyzing this Freudian reading of Hamlet of Shakespeare, in other words, in Freudian, applying Freudian theory on this Hamlet, because it is really Hamlet's father or a hallucination produced by Hamlet's skill. Psychoanalytic reading, the ghost is the return of the repressed. Claudius is the rival father. Gertrude is the desired mother. Hamlet's Oedipus complex is not a dirty secret. It's the engine of play's psychology. When Hamlet stabs through the earth and kills Polonius, he mistakes Polonius for Claudius, but he also kills a father figure. This is a Freudian slip on a grand scale. Ophelia's drowning, Hamlet's displaced aggression against his mother. Want proof? Hamlet tells Ophelia, "Get thee to a nunnery," which was Elizabeth's slang for brothel. He associates all women with his mother's sexuality, basically. So, what do you think? Does reading Hamlet this way enrich the play or reduces it to a case study? This is a question for reflection for all of you who wants to get more insight into Freudian psychoanalytic theory upon Hamlet. Do you think this reading of Hamlet in psychoanalytic lens enriches the play or reduces it to a case study? Uh, the second example we would take is psychoanalytic theory or that of Lacan applying upon Frankenstein, which was written by Mary Shelley in 1818. So Lacanian reading of the Frankenstein would be the creature is equal to the real, traumatic, impossible to symbolize, yet demands recognition. Victor Frankenstein refuses to name the creature. He calls it a demon, wretch, never a proper name. The creature learns language, symbolic order, but is denied entry into human society. The gaze, just to remind you, we are looking this Frankenstein of Mary Shelley with the lens of Lacanian reading, with the lens of Lacanian psychoanalytic theory. For Lacan, the creature is always watched, always monstrous. But who is the true monster? So the key insight here is Victor's horror is not the creature's body, it's the return of his own repressed desire to create life without the mother or the other. In other words, Mary Shelley's novel is a Lacanian gold mine. Victor creates life without a woman. He bypasses the mother, and what returns? The creature, which Victor refuses to name. A name would bring the creature into the symbolic order. Without a name, the creature is the real, traumatic, impossible, unspeakable. The creature learns language, the symbolic, by reading Paradise Lost. Plutarch lives and Goethe's sorrows of young Werther. He becomes more cultured than Victor, but society still rejects him because of his body. And the climax is the creature demands that Victor create a female companion, a demand for the other's recognition. Victor destroys her, and the creature becomes pure joyousness, murder as excess pleasure. The novel ends with the creature's final speech. He has been denied entry into the human, and that's Lacanian tragedy. So moving on, uh, let me just allow some. So moving on, we just need to uh, reflect upon some uh, key criticisms of common criticism on psychoanalytic theory. Uh, for some critics, it's ahistorical, treats Oedipus complex as universal, ignoring cultural differences, etc. For some other critics, it's androcentric. It focuses on male development. Female psychology is lack of penis, Freud's notorious phrase. Um, and unscientific for other critics, uh, cannot be proved or disproved based on case studies and not experiments. That's one of the very strong criticism by empirical sciences or believers in empirical science. Over interpretation. Everything is a phallic symbol becomes a joke, not analysis. So converting everything into a symbol, if for some critics, it basically uh, loses the seriousness of the theory and its over interpretation. And the criticism on Lacan particularly is Lacan's obscurity. His writing is famously difficult even for specialists. Lacan is not an easy author to understand. So we must be honest about the problems. For being ahistorical, the Oedipus complex assumes all cultures have nuclear families with jealous children, while in fact many don't. Secondly, androcentric. Freud's theory of female sexuality is notoriously weak. He said women have penis anyway and are castrated men. Feminist psychoanalytic critics like Julia Kristeva have attempted to salvage psychoanalysis by rereading it against itself. Uh, Thirdly, being unscientific, psychoanalysis cannot be empirically tested. Uh, Fourth, overinterpretation. It's a joke for some critics. That's what she said. Is a form of psychoanalytic reading, and it's often reductive. And finally, Lacan's obscurity, his writing is deliberately difficult. Some say this is a defense against criticism. The psychoanalytic response, we are not doing science, they would say, the psychoanalytic would argue against these criticisms that we are not doing science, we are doing interpretation. Does it yield fresh reading for Hamlet, Frankenstein, etc.? Yes, it does. So that's how. Uh, so if you find Lacan impossible, you're not alone. Many academics do too. Focus on the concepts you can use: repression, the uncanny, desire as a lack, etc. Please mute your mics, please. Just switch your mics off, please. So if we look into psychoanalytic theory today, uh, whoever it is, please switch your mic off. Please mute yourself. So psychoanalytic theory today, psychoanalysis is not dead, obviously. It's still very strong and prevailing theory. There are feminist psychoanalytics rereading Freud through Kristeva and Irigaray. Uh, Sixos, the joysons of feminine body. These are the feminist psychoanalytics. Trauma theory, Kathy Caroth, literature as working through historical trauma, Holocaust, slavery, colonialism, etc. Affect theory, pre-conscious intensities, moods, and bodily responses in reading. Object relations, how internalized relationships, mother-infant shape, narrative attachments, and cognitive psychoanalysis analysis, they focus on combining neuroscience with the psychoanalytic concepts. So its psychoanalysis is not a dead theory. It has evolved into feminist psychoanalytic critics like Kristova introduced pre-Oedipal maternal space, the chora as a source of creativity in language. The trauma theory, Kathy Caroth, and others use psychoanalysis to read literature about historical catastrophes like Holocaust testimonies, slave narratives, colonial violence, etc. Literature becomes a way to work through trauma that cannot be directly remembered. And affect theory, less about meaning, more about intensities, moods, bodily responses. How does a text make you feel before you understand it? Object relations, how our earliest relationships, mother-infant, becomes templates for how we relate to characters in fiction. And the cognitive psychoanalysis analytics, basically they combine Freud with neuroscience, emerging and controversial. So psychoanalytic criticism is not Freud in time capsule. It's a living tradition. Psychoanalytic criticism, it's a living tradition, and it's not been outdated as some would think. So it's a very much rigorous theory today. So the summary and key takeaways for today's lecture are: psychoanalytic criticism reads literature as a manifest content hiding a latent unconscious meaning. Freud gives us Oedipus complex, repression, the uncanny, dream work. Lacan gave us imaginary, symbolic, real desire as a lack, the gaze. The key literary applications are on Hamlet and Frankenstein, real and the audible delay in Hamlet, and the real and refusal to name in Frankenstein, and the Sandman, the uncanny. Still evolving: trauma theory, feminist psychoanalysis, and affect studies, etc. So these are the key points we could try to cover in today's lecture. And this is the list of suggested readings. If you've got time and if you've got interest, you can try reading this literature in order to understand psychoanalytic theory comprehensively. With this, today's lecture ends here, and I hope I try to explain it uh, as much as possible. If you have got any questions and if you want to discuss uh, this thing uh, further, you can ask me in the WhatsApp group, or you can ask me in the classroom. Uh, with this, I will say thank you very much to you all, and goodbye. And I'll see you soon in the physical class, hopefully. Thank you very much.